My name is Gene Golden. I'm from New York City. I was born there. And my parents are from St. Croix and Florida. And had some that lived in Canada for some time. I've been into music, drums all of my life, you know. I started out playing in New York City. Of course, I used to play on my mother's pots and stuff in the kitchen and all that. She used to run me out. That was when I was very young, and I guess my mother seen I had talent, so she gave me piano lessons. I used to go to piano school, you know, I had a teacher, it was pretty good. My sister was much better than I was. She got to be a concert pianist, you know, so, and also a teacher, but she never took it serious, and she went in another field. But myself, I always liked music, but I guess they wasn't paying attention to me. But I wasn't paying attention to piano. I was paying attention to rhythm. Anything that I heard with rhythm, drums, like, you know, my mother played that kind of music in the house, you know, Tito Puente, Macbeth, you know, the calypso, all of that music and rhythm and blues and jazz was all in my house all the time, so I was hearing that. So all the time I'm hearing drums. And that's how I started.
What year were you born in?
1940.
1940, okay.
Yeah. And I've been doing it ever since. Many experiences. I met many people, many drummers. Many drummers influenced me when I was very young. Like, I'll start as far back as I can remember at the moment. There used to be a club on 125th Street called Club Cubano. Every Saturday night they would be there, and it would be Arsenio Rodriguez's band.
Ooh.
And they had something very different than what they do now. They had where they'd have the dance, you know, they had dances, all the mothers and fathers, and the younger kids would be there.
Yeah.
Okay, they would have food and all things like that, and around 8 o'clock, all the younger kids, the mothers would take them on home. The mothers would come back, looking, you know, real pretty, and have the dance. That's when the band would play. Okay, the band was playing all the time, right? But they would play the dance music like around 10 o'clock. And I used to be there, and I was about, I think I was about 17 years old. You know, so in those days, the law said 18, you know, but when it was a family thing, like at a club, that was more like family with the band, and it was a lot of family. I was saying, he was people that he knew and whatever, who used to be there, and I learned how to play tumbao from one of his brothers, Kike.
Wow.
And it was Kike Raul Samuel, yeah, right. And he used to tell me, show me the patterns, and he used to tell me all kind of funny things. And nice man, and a very good player, Kike. Very strong. I don't see too many congueros play like that now. You know, Mongo did, but Mongo was really strong, very, very strong, you know, player. But the style, they don't do it now. They're more like paradiddles and rolls. They do a lot of, not that I don't like it. That's new. That's more. It's making everything bigger. But I always like fundamental. I like the old school. That's my own taste. You know, because it seems like it lays so much down and gives you so much room, like when it's dancing or singing. There's so much room for other stuff. So now you got me talking, so I don't know what else to tell you.
So what else do you remember about Arsenio? That's important. Arsenio's band.
Okay, all right. Say for instance, okay, I recall one night I was there at one of the dances, and there was a guy that used to come up there with it, you know, back in the day, the old Coca-Cola bottles. He used to have that filled up with water.
Okay.
And he used to play that with the band like a flute. I don't know how he did that. It's beyond me, but it was amazing. And they used to also, when Arsenio would play, they would put him in the chair up front, and then they would take the guitar from him after a while and give him a quinto. And he, I don't know if you know him, but Arsenio played very good, very nice quinto.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to see Arsenio play, you know, quinto. He was very good, very, very good. But most of the time he was playing stress. And all these guys, you know, influenced me. That's just, you know, in one area. Of course, when I met other people, you know, like say Julito or you know, and Tortico and, you know, Tommy Lopez and different other drummers throughout my course as I was coming up in life as a young drummer, trying to learn how to be a better drummer. You know, I was lucky enough to meet some of these people who were refined quality drummers. Like, say Tommy Lopez. When I used to go to the Palladium, 53rd Street and Broadway, this is when I was very young because my mother used to go there all the time, and she knew Hyman and the people that would always be there, and she used to say, well, look, my son is 16, let him in. And she said, okay, Beatrice, but make sure that he stays up by the stage on the corner, you know, because I don't want to get any trouble. And I was 16, and, you know, you had to be 17 at the time to go to Palladium. Arsenio used to play the Palladium also. But Tommy Lopez, I'm looking at Tommy Lopez sitting up there, young conga player, dressed nice, conga, playing with Vicentico Valdez's band. A lot of times Vicentico Valdez sang with Puente, but he had his own band, and he would be one of the bands at the Palladium. And of course, you know, it was billed most of the time in Machito, Tito Puente, you know, they used to have maybe 2 or 3 bands. Sometimes they have more on certain occasions. It was a nice, but I used to go there all the time. So I'm watching rhythm all the time. See, I'm watching guys with different styles of guys playing. And I'm learning and didn't know what I was really learning, but I was remembering it. And as time went on, of course, I, you know, sort of slowly put the puzzle together. I'm still putting the puzzle together. The puzzle never ends, you know. It's just that you have to look back and say, oh, wow, I did that much of it? Okay, that's cool. So I'll keep going. But drumming is my thing. Yeah.
So, just to jump ahead, you were participating in the first use of bata in popular music in the U.S. So, what was that?
Yeah, well,
talk about that.
Yeah. I would say this, I'm not the first one that gave it popular use or whatever, you know.
What was the album called?
But musically, in playing with a salsa band, say, in New York salsa, right? I put bata in I was the first one to do that. And it was with Grupo La Conspiración. The leader was Ernie Augusto, who's passed away now by and he was a, you know, very creative person, you know, and I was proud to play with him. So anyway, we put bata. I got a few drummers that knew a little bit about it. All of us were studying at the time, you know. I'm still studying. That's another thing, you know, it never ends, you know, which is beautiful. I mean, I like that. That's my thing. But so I'm just learning, and that happened in 1974, I believe. And then it went to, of course, we recorded something for Larry Hollow. We recorded something for even his brother, Andy Hollow. We recorded something for Grupo Folclórico Experimental Nueva Neoyorquino, a Conjunto Libre, and then it went on and on.
With bata.
And with bata. That's what I'm mentioning, bata. You know, those are the groups that's how it started. It sort of sprang out after I did it with La Conspiración.
So that was like 1974. Right?
Yeah, it was 1974. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And where did you get the idea for doing that?
The idea came on because I had some records, you know, that was in my family. Like there's a record by Sonora Matancera, and Celia Cruz was singing, and they were singing that same song, Silencio, that we did on the La Conspiración album, and they were playing bata, and it always stayed in my mind. And then I just kind of threw it on Ernie at a recording date as we were rehearsing to do the recording. I said, you know, Silencio, well, you know, why don't you try some bata? I mean, Jesus Perez did it with Sonora Matancera in Cuba. I mean, we might be the first to do it here, or whatever, see what it worked, what happens. And Ernie said, yeah, you know, I agree with you. So we did that. And he said, well, pick me some guys that know how to play, and you know, with 2 other guys, and I did that. And we did it. You know, I got John Amir and I got Milton Cardona to do it. Because they, you know, I was around him, and we would, like, Milton Cardona, he was playing with Willie Colon at that time, and John, he was more or less studying. He, you know, he was playing a lot of ceremonial things, and also a very knowledgeable drummer. He knows not just one form of drumming, you know, he's multi. And I said, well, these are the guys that I think could cut it, and we did it. And it came out fair. It came out pretty good, you know. We're a little more famous in Colombia, and places like, you know, by different other songs that we did on that album. So a lot of people know the history better than a lot of people in New York. They know who put Bataille and, like, in Colombia, you know, I mean, they know because they like La Conspiración in that country. That's about all I can remember at the moment. You know, things come as you go along. I might have to refer back to this as something I forgot, but I think I've sort of covered how it started pretty good, you know.
Anything else you remember about Bataille using in popular music in, like, Colombia or other places around that time? Did it catch on outside the U.S. too?
Well, with that group it did, of course. And even from what I hear, from what I think I heard Rennie Lopez say, that it was quite popular in South America, the Grupo Folklórico album. And so, and with the Bataille thing, you know, seeing how it was done in a lot of different places. You know, from what I heard on the radio or see it on TV or whatever, since that time, I would say it was very popular throughout South America and probably in Europe. You know, so that's what I would say about that album. You have to. I mean, there's so many. It's not that I made so many albums, but I made a lot of albums that were important. I'm not going to say that I made the album. I was proud to be a participant on these groundbreaking albums. You know, in fact, the last album Louis Armstrong made, I'm on it. With and that's only because I was playing with Leon Thomas, and Leon Thomas had mentioned to me, well, it was one of the drummers, a friend. He said, "Look, I got to go to Europe with Pharoah Sanders. Why don't you take my spot on this recording?" Not knowing that it would be the last, you know, recording with that, which made history. That would make history. But at that time, on that album, Louis Armstrong was a little sick, and he didn't play his trumpet at all. It was Oliver Nelson's band that was there that we were playing with. And he was just singing throughout the whole album, sitting in the middle of the studio. It was our RCA Victor Studios on 43rd Street between 6th and Broadway. Yeah, I believe. It was quite new at that time. It was 1973. I think it was 1973. Yeah. Let's see. And you know, I'm just using these things as an example, really, to show you, you know, how I've been lucky, you know, in that sense, and I'm proud. I'm trying to remember that so that I can pass it on. Maybe that makes me famous enough for some young drummer coming. Oh wow, you play with Louis Armstrong. What can you? Then maybe if I got something that he needs, I'll give it to him, or she. I'll give it to him, because that's how things should happen. Because you can't just die and go take it to the grave with you. You know, that would be, to me, it doesn't, I don't even see it.
Let's pause for a second.
You just ask me what you want to know, you know, in brief bits, and maybe I can help you.
More you can tell us about the history of Cuban influence in this city. And we were just talking about Julito, Collazo, and Ocha rhythms.
Okay, well, at that time, you know, I didn't know as much as I know about, you know, religion as I do now. So I was just there for learning how to play the drum, and then slowly I seen what it was.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was Julito Collazo, and it was other drummers that were like around that knew, but not as straight, really right to everything that it looked. It just looked right, and I know now it was. So I was around there, and I would say Julito was a more popular, you know, was and Tortico, and then sometimes they would play together. Okay, you know, Tortico was more into Guido and rumba. Okay, Julito, he seemed at one time sort of reluctant about playing bata in New York because they didn't want to, you know, they held it highly sacred, and they didn't know. It's normal, I guess, the normal thing. It's because nobody else is doing it, and then you're going to play, you know. I don't know really what it was, because I didn't.
You got your permission to do it.
Yeah, I was just there, and I wasn't running the show. I didn't know anything. All I was interested in, how do you play that, you know, because it's good. Then other people came on the set playing bata at different tambos. Tambos were happening more and more and more. And it sort of stemmed up from there. But Julito was one of the early ones. And then, of course, in the 1980, and Puntilla came here.
Yeah.
Puntilla, just like his name is, you know, it's put the point on it, you know, and it's in the right direction as far as tambo is concerned. And I was like right there. I still am, you know, because there's so much I don't know. That's what's so nice about it. So I know that it's not going to come to a boring stop.
So when Julito started playing, what instruments were they using? I mean, how did it evolve?
Well, I seen Julito play tambo, I mean the conga drum and the guido, and I seen him playing the bata, and I played with him at a tambo in bata. Played not a tambo, a few, you know, and I was learning from him, and he was showing me whatever he knew, and he admitted to me, he says, I'm not really a, you know, Anya player. He said, but I know, and I want to do it here. And he knew quite a bit, you know. So I was happy to play with him. And I used to see him play different rhythms and things with Abakwa, rhythms that I see him play. I wanted to know how to do that, you know. I didn't ask too much because I didn't know what I would, you know. All I wanted to know is, well, whatever you could, is it all right to play this? Yeah, okay, that, no, but that, no. You know, he was strict and says, you know, he showed me what to do when to do it, you know. So I respected that. I abided by it, you know, and that way I learned what I wanted to learn.
And when that was in the 50s when you started?
Yeah, that was in the late 50s. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And they were there to study. They were there with Catherine Dunham, right?
Yeah, yes.
Did you see
Julito and Francisco Aguavella, they were playing with Catherine Dunham. No, I didn't. But I seen one time where they were rehearsing down at Michael Studios. There used to be a studio for Michael Studios on 8th Avenue, around 50th and 51st Street or something like that on 8th Avenue. And they had like about it looked like an apartment building that they made each floor studio, dance studio. You know, with the mirrors and rail and all that, the whole thing. And there was 5 floors, and that was very fun. I met a lot of drummers there too. Met a lot of African drummers like Laji Kamara. I met there. Let's see. I could just go back and name that I would be going off the subject of what we're talking about. it just brings back memories just to think of different places when you know, I've been happy enough to and thankful enough to say that I've experienced a lot of different rumba, tambo, all different tambos from everywhere in my lifetime, that I wish that a lot of the young people that I'm teaching or that wants to learn anything, I wish they could experience that. So it just intensifies what I'm trying to teach them. So I teach them, and then sometimes I tell them little stories, because these things stay in my mind, and it's good for me too. And to keep good memories, you know. So that's about what I am. That's how I relay it to the world. You know, I have to live my life like anybody else. You know, there's so much space for everything. But I'm not, like I say, I'm not going to take this and put it in a corner somewhere and not and forget about it. What I've acquired in life and learned, I want to show it and teach it.
Did you ever hear Changó play?
When I was about I was 13. I don't even remember. 12, something like that. When the kids stayed in the streets back in those days, all the neighborhoods, because at that time I was living on 107th Street. I was staying mostly with my grandmother. 107th Street, between 5th and Madison, and with my grandmother. And kids could roam. We go to Central Park. We go up. Walk around in those days. You didn't have to worry about the things that we have now. Like you could go and sleep on a park bench and wake up in the morning and your wallet's still there, and you're still there. So when everybody knew everybody in the block, they knew their mother, knew their parents. And if you were somewhere, someone would come up to you in the street and say, "Well, look, I don't know your mother. Why are you kicking that garbage can over? Why are you doing something mischief?" I'm just trying to get to the point of how I came about seeing him. Okay, it was, I think, in the club on 111th or 116th Street, somewhere over there by Park or whatever. It was a bar, and they were playing Roomba. He was playing in there. And it was like, just something that was like, man, I don't know, something I never really heard it that raw, that really intense. And I'm looking through the window, so I get kicked away by one of those guys. He was a number writer guy in the street. He says, "Look, I know your mother. You're not supposed to be here. It's late. Get home." Because So we went. So it was like that, and that's the only thing that I've ever known about Channel Post. And I was a little kid. But all of these things influenced me. This was, way before. Maybe that's why I asked Kike to show me about. Who knows? Things are funny in life. Especially in the beginning. The tracks you're getting set on. Yeah.
And what happened to Kike?
I don't know. He moved to California, and he was there with his brother Raul and all. I think Raul was the last one to die. Arsenio first, Kike second, I think, and Raul last. I think Raul just died in recent California hurt. And that's all I could really tell you about. What else would you like for me to tell you about it?
What, and just in your mind, what's some of the most exciting developments in the music during your lifetime?
Okay, during my lifetime. When I first seen groups from Africa come here, like Sakakwe, and then later on, even when Olatunji started, doing things here. He wasn't really didn't come in to be a drummer. He was a political scientist, so he was coming in for that. Then of course he knew the drum from Then he got a group together. In fact, I played with him a few times. Never recorded with him, but I played with him. interesting, and all of these things were major stuff at that time when it happened. When Mongo Santa Maria, Willie Bobo, Patato, all of these people playing with Puente and doing the floor shows and things. They were doing like Roomba and things like all of these things encouraged me. That was very exciting era, you know, that happened. When the salsa age started booming, we're talking about music. We're not talking about anything in the world. Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. When that happened, that was very good. When people from Cuba came here in 1980, like that started to come over, when the drummers came over that were more, you know, knowledgeable, of course, and were able to give their hand, and show and teach and put it in the right form, correct form. That was one of the most. When I retired from the post office and was able to play like I want to. That's one of the great highlights. I'm glad I made it to that point. So I'm not being selfish with it. I'm gonna, whatever I know and I have time, which I do, here, you can have that. Oh, and I learned this, take that. And make a joke out of it and say, here, take that with you. You know, or because you need it. I don't.
That's great.
Yeah, see, so I'm about that, you know. I'm really more about playing, but I'm more about playing correctly. When I met Román, when I met Puntilla, these guys played correct. These guys played right. When they play, it's serious, but yet fun. Serioso, pero feliz. You know? At this age, this time in my life, you know, I'm proud to be around great drummers. That's the jewel. That's great. So I try to use it. That's why if I get something, hey, no, I want this guy. I want this. I want this. No, because I know. Like I don't. If I had the proper finances, I'd hook it up right. I know what to do because I've listened to enough.
What would you do?
What would I do? Yeah. I'd put the right combination of guys that, you see what it is that all of the guys that are here, that are so knowledgeable and so experienced, it's not together.
Yeah.
I know who to put together. Okay, you know that, but that takes finances for me to keep that intact. With that intact, then maybe I can produce something that will yet be sharpen the point of the arrow even more. And I might not have to ever even speak a word of Spanish, but I do understand about it. And speak just a little bit, but that's not important. What's important is keeping it happening. People who know who can play. Like I told you, like what my saying is, most people give credit where credit is not due most of the time. See? So, knowing that, I don't walk with an ego.
Yeah.
I can't. It doesn't feel good. I want to give it away. You know, I don't mean myself. I'm talking about if you got something, you Okay, you paid dues in learning it or whatever. You went through. But you see somebody that so talented that that's all they need. You mean to tell me you're not going to give it to them? Now, okay, if you corrupt, you sell it to them or do whatever you know. But we're not talking to that a lot. We're talking about real life. Okay, why not give it to them? See, because to me, that's seeing in the future. That's when you say, "Oh, I can see people," because you can see into the future.
Of course.
So, give it to them. Make it happen. You make it. If you can make it happen, that's you seeing into the future.
So let me just ask you, because you know Latin percussion is like an institution,
Right.
and it's what people who don't know anything about drumming would say. Well, there was, that's where it's at, right?
What do you mean Latin percussion? How do you?
Latin, the group, the company.
Oh, the
people
companies.
they sponsor and all that, the recordings they make. So would you say that is the test, or is that? You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm in. Let me just ask this for a second.
Okay. A company, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a company. You know, I in fact I know Martin Cohen.
Yeah.
I know him. In fact, there was a drummer, a good friend of mine. His name was Pablo Landrum. He made drums, and he used to. In fact, that picture you see on the wall of three guys up near the top.
Yeah.
Those are the drums that Richie went over to Martin Cohen and told him, "I want to buy some tambora keys from the factory." That was when they were in Palisades Park at that time, and he put together, took a bongo and he took made some slaps and put them together, made bata, and those are the bata that he made and brought over to Martin Cohen. And Martin Cohen said, "I think I'm gonna start making these things, man." You know, that's quote, as we said. And then he did that, and Latin percussion is a business. I mean, they see something and they'll do it. They do a great job. They make great conga drums, great instruments, but they didn't start any trend.
Right.
This is all these things about that was here, being handmade.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of different things. I mean, how does Latin percussion work? I mean, it has to go out and see what people want so they can sell it. You know, maybe this kind of guido, maybe this kind of, just like you see that instrument there. You know, that was somebody's idea. I believe it was Giovanni's idea.
Okay.
So, you know, that's how I think of it.
Yeah. Another question I have for you is, over the years, drumming has changed a lot. The technique of tuning and all that.
Yeah, I have my own technique.
If you listen to Chano's head, his sound, it's got nothing. No one plays like that today. No one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are tuning it to be with the harmonics of the orchestra. Can you talk a little bit about how that's changed the sound?
Well, the Chano played more African than they do now.
Right.
Now it's going into another phase. It's going into another phase of things because don't forget there's so many electronic things and sound that we've progressed in that you want to make a conga drum or something sound like what's happening. You want to make it sound electric. So I don't knock that, you know, that concept. Go ahead on, do it. I mean, that's the way it is now. But I prefer the way you just mentioned, the way Chano played the old style. Like even when I play with my little Roomba group I got, I don't like all of the drums, the tambor to be really up like that. No, it has to have some kind of substance to it, you know, like in the old days. Listen to look at how long road of Guaguancó. Let me pick one. Guaguancó Matancero, then became Los Muñequitos de la Tanza, you know, and on. Okay? But years ago, the tumbador, now it's bing. See? Ahora, bing. No, before. You know, it's more, not that it was slower, no, tuning, like you say. I prefer the fatter. It's hard to do. Just like playing slow. It's hard to play slow. Anybody can play fast. You play the rumba real fast. You can play quinto, quinteando, rápido. Yeah. Quinteando, atrás. Very difficult. Some people think, no, I got it. I say, I got it. You know, but they don't have it. They don't have it. You know, so that's, I can speak on that because I like those, you know, but I don't know how to, I know so many things. I probably sound like I'm a babbling idiot. I'm going from one thing to another. No, that's only because so much is coming through my mind. So many I have so many memories of I have memories of room bones that I wish that somebody was there with a recorder to hear that. Even in Bombay, I've heard Bombays, of course, that will never be recorded. It's gone. It's there. You know, well, why should it? You know, but I've heard kids playing in the park. Beautiful, but nobody filmed it. Nobody. Nowadays they do more of that. So that's a way of capturing, you know, making things go ahead faster, but you can't get lost from the old school. You can't get lost. If you get lost from the Escuela Vieja, too bad. Too bad for you. You know, you gotta have both. Escuela Vieja, Escuela Nueva. Together. Then you go with them. It works that way. What else you want to ask me?
Just pause right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, like you know, Arsenio and Kike, they lived up in the Bronx. You know, and that's like 160. I think it was 161st or no 63rd Street in Webster, up that way. And in fact, they were Kike and Raul, and they were making the bongos. They used to make the bongos, the Cuban bongos, out of one piece. I can show you. I have a pair.
From them?
From I can show you. But anyway, they used to make it in one piece. You know, beautiful. That dark. I don't know what's cherry. No, that dark hard mahogany. So it's not strips and nothing glued together. It's one that, like, you know, it's like the way the batas. Okay, beautiful drums. Beautiful. The sound was phenomenal. You know, get that sound now. And they didn't. I don't believe they made conga drums. There was a place though. They would go. Kike would go. I knew about it even before everybody knew about it that played any kind of drums. There was a place on 116th Street called a bakery. It was a bakery, right? But this guy, he made drums there and stuff, and I think he would get, or he would some that would get shipped over from Cuba, and I think some in part he'd put them together in the bakery. But in the bakery, it had high ceilings. They had these high shelves, and they would put all the conga drums up there on the shelves, and they were all mostly heat ups. They weren't key with keys. Yeah. They were all the heat ups, you know.
So and they had nailed.
Nails, yeah.
And then you heat it up.
Yeah, but they would look beautiful. And some came painted from the ones some from Cuba. That I remember. That was the last. I remember that from. I remember that from. What year? I'm trying to think of the year. 53, 4, like that.
So when did those?
Well, I could gradually see them coming with the bands, because when I would go to Palladium, like Tito Rodriguez's conga player, he had those drums. In fact, he even had the drums and they had on the band. The bands even came around, chrome bands, and they had a thing in the way you could adjust them. You know, because in those days, drums were steamrolled when they were, you know, they weren't like cut, you know, out of a wood to get the cut. They were steam shaped. Okay. Barrel, the way they make barrels, right? The same way. So they would rotate, I guess, or move, expand. This would make the bands, you know, they would shrink in the winter and will expand in the summer, and you tighten the bands. And they were painted nice, chrome keys and like that. And I seen Mongo come here with some beautiful drums that he had painted and everything. And I'm pretty sure some of those were from Cuba. Of course, I didn't know the ass, or it wasn't that concerned. I was just enthused on the way he played at that time.
Why don't you show us those bongos? I'd love to see them.
Okay, you want to? Okay. This has been repaired many times. The hardware has been changed because originally it had chrome. This was all chrome. Okay, this is that kind of wood, you see. And this had got chipped, so I put some very special epoxy so it wouldn't keep chipping away on that side. But everything else is smooth, see? Smooth. But one piece, this is all one piece, See, it's all one piece. See, this skin broke, see, right here, so I got to, and it's still, I didn't even tune it down, They have a great sound, That's, of course, that's torn and it sounds good, but this is, you can see how that, if you tune it. But this is Cuba a long time ago. But this has been changed, fixed, broken, rompe, mucho año, put back, fix, mucho año.
But do you know who made them? Is that from Arsenio?
This, I believe, is one of the Arsenio ones, but I think this is from Cuba. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I've had them many years, okay? This is the right sides. This is the sides I used to see all the bongo players that were playing in the bands in New York, whatever. Even Mongo's a great bongo player. Manny Ocando, they would be Johnny Lavaca, even later on in the 70s, Johnny Rodriguez, he was a great nice bongo player because his father was great, and they would use these kind of bongos. So
beautiful.
So this is, I just keep these as more or less a museum piece. I don't even use them unless I go to a little recording date myself and I'm doing it, when I like that. But I don't use them out just that on a gig, per se.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, sure.